Hi, I am D.A. Wilson, and I am delighted to be here this afternoon at Adobe Books on 24th Street in the Mission District of San Francisco to read. And we'll start out with a cover poem, Too Many Daves. Did I ever tell you that Mrs. McCabe had 23 sons and she named them all Dave? Well, she did, and that wasn't a smart thing to do. You see, when she wants one and calls out, "You-hoo, come into the house, Dave," she doesn't get one. All 23 Daves of hers come on the run. This makes things quite difficult at the McCabe's, as you can imagine with so many Daves. And often she wishes that when they were born, she had named one of them Bodkin Van Horn, and one of them Hoosfoos, and one of them Snim, and one of them Hotshot, and one Sunny Jim, and one of them Shadrach, and one of them Blinky, and one of them Stuffy, and one of them Stinky, and another one Put-Put, another one Moonface, another one Marvin O'Gravel Balloonface, and one of them Ziggy, and one Soggy Muff, one Buffalo Bill, and one Biffalo Buff, and one of them Sneepy, and one Weepy Weed, and one Paris Garters, and one Harris Tweed, and one of them Sir Michael Carmichael Zut, and one of them Oliver Boulevard Butt, and one of them Zanzibar Buck Buck McFate. But she didn't do it, and now it's too late. And that's Dr. Seuss. And so now some of my own work. So I publish Roarshock Page, which is a literary flyer, comes out about every month, and you can find it online at Roarshock.net, Roarshock. So this piece is called It Will Never Be Linear. Wait a minute and get it all linear, say 3:15 p.m. And the Asilomar experience was indeed still soft from hygiene and insects. And he was bullshitting me now that I didn't concentrate against fucking heels over, unless they returned me to my literary dune. That real McCoy fellow bought gewgaws, the entrance always going on a theme of knowledge incognito for the crows. They can paint whole forests of sunlight and uncertainty, and I guess Goose might put in charges because those people who matter get comfort hidden for life. Thank you. Magical legal tender can't force your skill from spoiling for a fight. It isn't that easy to go through the room of the toys in fear of the pessimist and the optimist meeting. In a sense, we encounter and orchestrate memory loops and neurosciences in our brains. Debauchery and disgust, he relented to Yeats again in a fleeting power fantasy, cured in the sewers with a rolling hexagonal hour fraught with insect fashion and a table haze matter of personal vigor, with those secret quantum explanations up the ass. I don't know. Scandalous lies are good around here. And of course, my lifestyle eats favor until someone this side of the karmic destruction started up posters of whole good things and creative energy and got in the door more often. This is something about which I had real concern more often than in another spiritual kind. There are 4 proofs while we come down close to primal chaos and orderly movements, but I forget whose mountaintop and personal effects and lands of humanity, birds and barbarians. Think of Walter C. Bland, Mr. Vulture. I'm sick of health and certain wall plant color feelings and the feeling of the traffic out there, reading over easily as I'm too naked and keeping my hips with other live human nervous system experience that orchestrate all repeating memory loops that encounter ecstasy or dismal and depressing social decency. What a spiritual contact high, all our very many friends out of the order of a Silomar. Group photo would sleep this possible Friday afternoon, way out of line. It was not a question of breaking through Friday atop a dune with beauty and scratching himself and an intruder stamping upon the eyes he was supposed to think of. Might as well try breathing down my neck anyway. This has been the normal world that no one will please remain damn well out of, not wanting all kinds of fear. Let me out. I think I can. I've already gotten the Silom. My relations insist on calling me normal, and since Clephia served all who imagined to lurk this week, the featherless sincerely hoped for a very shallow and linear weekday morning of normalcy. Unfortunately, another publicist ghost wrote this for me. That real McCoy fellow is the host organism down here this year. Next year's term come free for all. It's been years, and even my fading connections in writing and beans and the real school, and all know how I'd sit around the course to party with honors with Clepius et al., dropping the rapid aging process and the fountain of youth. Okay. This is a poem, and this was written December 14th, 1980, a Sunday morning. It was in response to the moment of silence worldwide, which Yoko Ono called for in memory of John Lennon, who had been killed the week before. Silence for John Lennon. There is no silence in a sunlit room. There are songs that come unannounced from voices long unheard. At the moment of tranquil despair, there are eyes that mirror infinite love. There are thoughts that are the key to immortality. There are tears that flow like spring torrents, sobbings like tornadoes, cryings like hurricanes. There is silence shared and savored. There is aloneness and quietness. There is a moment of lucidity, gone as soon as we become aware of it. There are many distractions. There are many paradoxes. There are many hidden places, hitherto unexplored. There is much to be said for sitting in a seat of silence, awaiting the moment I can't remember, but can remember. So here's a couple short ones. This is my book, First Hours of a Rainy Day and Other Poems.
Show it again. Nice.
And I slipped a copy into the local poets section right there in
Good.
the shop here. A poem unbidden, hollow inside, as if somebody were sucking out my guts with a straw. This queasy boundary between sickness and health. This is the place where things change. This is the place where time stands still. I know too many people pluck at me with their eyes. Too many people draw the strength right out of me. I'm trying to write a poem while my body wavers in a temporary wind. The stuff of dreams is made of fragile stuff. Poems grow out of desolation, arriving unannounced, banging upon the doors of consciousness. Let me in out of the cold. I'm so empty and tired. Why should I be your means to expression? You poem, I know better than to think I rot you.
That's
Thank you. This
Could
one,
you just read that last, is it terrible to ask a poet to read the last 2 lines again?
oh no, that's a compliment. Let me see if I can
It
find
went
it.
too fast.
Oh, just the last couple of lines, huh?
Well,
The last lines are, the last 3 lines. You poem, I know better than to think I wrought you.
yeah. Right before that poem you came, what was it? It was like, poem, why did you choose me?
Let's read the whole thing again. Why not? We got time.
Yeah, thank you.
A poem unbidden, hollow inside, as if somebody were sucking out my guts with a straw. This queasy boundary between sickness and health. This is the place where things change. This is the place that poems come from. This is the place where time stands still. I know too many people pluck at me with their eyes. Too many people draw the strength right out of me. I'm trying to write a poem while my body wavers in a temporary wind. The stuff of dreams is made of fragile stuff. Poems grow out of desolation, arriving unannounced, banging upon the doors of consciousness. Let me in, out of the cold. I'm so empty and tired. Why should I be your means to expression? You poem, I know better than to think I wrought you.
Okay, my hands and my arms are starting to shake. Can I turn this off?
Turn it off and then back. Okay, so this one here, this could be called a cautionary tale, I guess. It's called Blank Doses. I've lived in the hate for 23 years. The buds that I speak of will get you high. Give me your money now, and I'll let you hold this sheet. Don't you dare run off with it. I'll be back in 10 minutes. An hour later, I've had my fix of heroin and cocaine. You have a sheet of blank doses and lots of food for thought. And just a couple more, or maybe one more. This is another Roarshock page one. This is almost exactly a year ago, and written over in Europe. And this is called Mona Lisa Selfie. A funny thing happened, as in a peculiar thing, between my first visit to the Musée du Louvre early this century and most recent, just a few days ago in 2016. What happened is that a huge percentage of the visitors now are viewing the masterpieces of art not with their naked eyes, but through their cell phones and tablets. It's not enough to view that most famous of paintings, La Gioconda, Mona Lisa, and let the power of Leonardo da Vinci's work hit you emotionally, which it does me, even at first glance from a distance outside the gallery as I approach. One must not only take a photograph, because there are never enough copies of the original in the world, but also be in the photograph. So there they are, blocking the view and grinning away. Marcel Duchamp famously put a mustache on a reproduction of the Mona Lisa, but that does not necessarily mean the world needs the selfie of every random guy with a mustache standing in the gallery in front of the painting. Ironically, I have heard some cranks and scholars argue that Mona Lisa herself is a selfie of Leonardo in drag. Venus de Milo is a wonder of the ancient world, but I wonder how one really sees it with one's back turned to it holding a selfie stick. It's the same thing at many museums in this modern day and age, like across the Seine at the Musée d'Orsay. There's something weird and a bit disturbing watching people take their selfie in front of Vincent van Gogh's self-portrait. But maybe that's just how it seems to an older guy like me. When presented with the opportunity to view great art with one's own eyes and internalize that experience, that's not good enough anymore. A selfie is required, or it didn't happen, and it's all about me. That's all. Thank you.